Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with drummer Carl Maguire and bassist Alan Maguire, known as the Maguire Twins. They are now promoting their second CD, 2018's Seeking Higher Ground, and that's what these cats are always doing. They are identical, musically inclined twins born in Japan and grew up in Hong Kong, where they seldom heard jazz, and then at 15 they moved to the musically rich town of Memphis. They hooked up with the Memphis legend Donald Brown, barely in their 20s, and since that time, with that stroke of luck, the world has opened up to them, and things keep on getting better. So please get to know both of them and dig this interview, my friends.
Carl, Alan, thank you for taking a minute out to talk to Neon Jazz. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just got to say up front, even if you guys weren't jazz musicians, your bio is totally jazz. You had no other choice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, I mean, the whole Hong Kong, Japanese, Memphis, early in the studio with the legend, there's just no way around it. You guys were destined. It was written in the stars when you were born. So with that in mind, what I want to do is I want to jump in and ask you about Seeking Higher Ground. I've spun it on the show. I love the album. I love the energy you guys got. So why don't you guys tell me about this album and how happy you are with it?
Thank you. We're really happy with it, and like a lot of the feedback we've gotten from it has been real encouraging. We recorded it, I think, about a year and a half ago. So we were just finishing college at that time. We had like a semester left. It was the week before our birthday, before we turned 20.
21. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 21. I mean, so we're still 20, and yeah, Donald. He's been helping us out since we first started playing jazz. My drum teacher was the person who got me into it, and he was a friend of Donald's. He introduced us to Donald about like 6 months into us learning jazz. So we started learning jazz our senior year of high school, and meeting Donald Brown just changed everything for us. And he got us connected with a bunch of people. Like whenever we'd go places out of town, if he knew someone there, he'd get us lessons with people. And so he helped us a whole bunch with our development in learning jazz. And then we went to school with him at UT, and there he helped us. Being with him, and also Greg too, they both helped us a lot preparing for the album as well. So just how it came out, it was just a great project to be a part of, and with Aaron Goldberg and Bill Mobley being on there, they're the guys we knew we would listen to when we first started listening to jazz, and so it was crazy for us. It was like incredible. I was shaking, just like because of how excited and nervous I was before getting to meet them and play with them. So that was pretty incredible.
And also, while we were recording the album, like we didn't expect the album to be at the level that it was, that it's at. It was just surprising as to how like well everything came together. And a lot of it, I would say is like thanks to Donald Brown, just because he's a really good producer. He knows how to be time efficient, and some of the things that he hears, like, not an ordinary person can hear, It's like, he can hear, like, the difference in the balances and all that. So he's just a great producer when it comes to that.
So are you familiar with the story of Justin Coughlin and Clark Terry?
I've heard. Is Justin Coughlin the blind pianist?
Yes, and his mentor. Yeah, well, they made a movie about that, and it kind of reminds me of what you guys are talking about. Clark's the legend. He took him on and really taught him how to get into the jazz. It kind of seems like that's what happened with Donald, is he really took you guys under his wing and kind of opened up his Rolodex, so to speak, and kind of got you guys going. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. When we first met Donald, like since I played drums, Alan played his bass. Donald, he Yeah, like we would just do ensemble lessons with him pretty much, or like pretty much any person we take, pianist or horn player we take lessons with.
Yeah,
we like a little ensemble lesson.
Yeah, we were kind of like when we were selecting like mentors, we actually went towards pianists instead of like a bassist and drummer because most of our lessons focused on how to work as an ensemble together compared to just the technique on the bass or the technique on the drums. I mean, we did do that stuff on the side, but we kind of we got lessons from like touring artists like Champion Fulton, and then like we did do stuff with Greg Tardy like that. And so I guess like that's like most people don't get lessons like that unless they go to university and get into a combo. But we did that stuff before that stuff and in the beginning of our jazz development.
Yeah, and then like just being around Donald all the time, he'd help us out individually as well since he was at school, and so he showed us around. He'd get us to listen to people, give us CDs every week.
Yeah. And Donald, like most people don't know this, but he's actually also a bassist. Like he knows, he has like a unique way of viewing the bass. I mean, he thinks about it like very harmonically, So he likes musicians such as Jaco Pastorius or like Stanley Clarke when it comes to the bass. So he would teach me some of like how to play the bass very harmonically, and that stuff just helped me grow. And he would also teach both of us piano just so we can compose just at a higher level.
Yeah, he actually also played some drums, like when he was a kid too. So he showed me a few things on the drums too when I was first getting started.
Yeah, Donald was just multi-instrumentalist. Like he played tuba, trumpet. Actually went to school for trumpet, and then Mulgrew Miller and James Williams turned him onto the piano.
Very cool. Very cool. So let me ask you, so you guys, your stories we obviously talked about up front. You're born in Japan, raised in Hong Kong. At 15, you come to Memphis and get into jazz. Talk to me about how you guys grew up and how all of this happened to today.
Well, like being born in Japan and having family in Japan, that, and like the fact that jazz is so big in Japan, that helped us with getting gigs over there and people wanting to, us growing a little fan base over there.
Yeah, it's like the people in Japan are very supportive of art, and that's how we got so much support just from playing in Japan. Like we didn't like us performing in Japan just like blew up. Like every year it grew at at a huge rate. The audience, like how big our audiences were, and then like we ended up playing with like more famous musicians like UEG, who plays with Eric Alexander, and then Yosuke Sato, who plays with Gregory Porter.
Yeah, and then like growing up in Hong Kong, being in Hong Kong is so international, and people come and go there all the time. So we met all kinds of people. So now we have friends all over the world just because we lived in Hong Kong. And so we get a lot of exposure to other cultures, and jazz is like a melting pot. You have people all over the world playing and contributing their own styles and sounds to it. So I'd say that's how like growing up in Hong Kong influenced our approach and just being able to adapt to other cultures. We didn't really play music so much in Hong Kong until the last year we lived there. And music isn't, like, especially jazz music or just drumming in general, just because it's so crowded and you get noise complaints all the time. You don't see too many drummers there. So me being a drummer, moving to Memphis was the next step and perfect for both of our development in just learning music in general. We went to like the Stax Music Academy, which is where we would learn how to play R&B tunes, soul tunes, and learn from the drummers here in town who are just incredible, and as well as some of the bassists too. They're really great too. And
actually when we first moved to Memphis, I didn't play upright bass. I was playing electric bass, and I remember my bass teacher told my mom, if Alan plays upright bass, he would get double the amount of gigs. So that weekend, my mom drove me to Nashville and bought me an upright bass. And then the next week, my bass teacher came back and he's like, "Whoa, that was fast." But I mean, the support we get from my mom, she's always really fast on everything. If someone tells us to do something, we're gonna do it we're gonna respond to it fast. And that's how, we're just able to grow at a fast rate and then get these albums out, at a young age.
I'd say so, yeah. Why is it that jazz made sense to you? You could have picked anything. You could have gone into any genre, but you decided jazz. Why is jazz something that clicks with you so much?
It's just the freedom that it provides. It just gives you a lot of room to express how you want to play. And, when we were growing up, we were playing genres such as rock and R&B, but, everyone always wants to stick straight to the recording. And, it's kind of restricting. And when you're playing jazz and you're improvising, it's just a lot more fun for us. Just being able to play something different each time and being able to, do something different, show off something in a tune, or create a different arrangement on the spot. That was just very inspiring and, just like a new concept to us, and we just loved that concept and we just took it head on,
Yeah, I'd say the exact same reason for me, but also because my drum teacher, he was a jazz drummer, and he would actually take me around to his gigs and have me sit in. I wouldn't know how to play at all, but he'd tell me a couple things, and just the way jazz is, it's and how the community is, it's really forgiving. And so we'd just be I'd be up on the drums just panicking, but I'd get through it, and then just do that over and over. It was just really fun. It taught me not to be scared and just to do whatever I feel. And so and that adds to the whole freedom thing.
Yeah, and then
putting your personality into the music.
Yeah, and another thing was that when we'd go out to Carl's drum teacher's gigs, I remember the bassist also asked me, he's like, "Oh, I heard you play upright bass." And I was like, "I just got a bass. I still don't know how to play." He's like, "No, it's fine. Come on, play." I was like, and he gets me to play his bass, and then I was just I'm still learning, and I was like, okay, just keep quarter notes, and you'll do fine, And we'd go back every Friday and do the same thing, and that's how we just grew really fast. And dude, also because we're twins, whenever I see something, someone do something cool on drums, I'd be like, "Hey, Carl, you should try doing that on drums." And then, he'd actually learn that, and then he'd do the same thing with me. He'd be like, "Hey, you see how that bassist is playing with his right hand? Maybe you should try that." And I was like, "Okay." And then we just give us feedback, as we just tell each other, what we should try and do, and, if it works, we'll keep doing it, that kind of stuff.
So you're in your early 20s. You're on your second album. You're clearly very busy. You're doing quite a bit. This is a combo question of how do you feel things are going, and what does your future look like? What do you guys want to see? Say we talk in 10 years. What do you want to say?
We want to be touring a lot. We want to have more albums out. Maybe with different styles. Maybe go into some of the electronic stuff, or I like writing stuff for strings, so maybe I'll go towards that.
Yeah, and then also I'd love to play with some of my heroes like Terrence Blanchard, Walter Smith III, or just be around some of my favorite drummers and keep learning from them, and yeah, just touring, playing as much as you can, and all that.
Right on. What live shows have you seen, jazz shows, that have made a real impression on you?
I'd say the first one we watched was when Charles Lloyd came to Memphis, and he brought Reuben Rogers, Eric Carlin, and Jason Moran. And, you know, just seeing, like, that was actually before I started playing upright bass. And just seeing all the capabilities, like, you know, Eric Carlin did stuff on the drums that, you know, if you're outside of the, you know, if you don't really know much about jazz drumming, you know, it's just, he did so much stuff that, you know, like the typical drummer won't do, you know. It's like,
yeah, I didn't know, like, you could play as fast as he could on the drums, or just do all the, I didn't know, like, you could be that expressive on the drums or any of that. So it was really inspirational for me. I was like, oh, if you can do it, I can do it too. So I just kept working at it.
Yeah, I think that was the first gig I saw someone playing an upright bass. So that was just a complete new experience for me, you know, seeing him bow the bass and just like being able to, you know, run the fast lines on the bass. That was just, yeah, it was just, you know, life-changing for us.
But yeah, there's been plenty of other life-changing shows too. Like when I got to watch Kendrick Scott Oracle, his group, his modern jazz group, and just watching him play, I feel like that actually influenced my sound a lot. Just how he approaches the drums, and I took a lesson from him as well, and just like how he's all over the drum set, but everything still makes sense and works. But yeah, that was seeing him and Eric Carlin play. That was really influential, as well as like watching Marcus Gilmore too. I've seen him a couple times as well. And there's a lot of people. There's like Jeff Hamilton with his brushwork, and there's a lot of people. Yeah. We've seen a lot.
That's good, man. That's good. That's how you learn. And I want to ask you this too. You know, you go out on the road, you play in these cities, and you have fans that are thirsty for jazz and looking through the papers and whatever advertising you're putting out there. So I want to ask you this. If you have the chance right now to explain who you guys are in kind of the length of a tweet or a little bit more than a tweet, to convince somebody that you guys are worthy of being seen in a live venue, what would you say? How would you sell yourself?
Well, I'd say like, you know, like being able to see twins play together is, you know, is not common, but like the duo of bass and drums, like the core rhythm section, and just like seeing the interaction. I mean, there's only one other pair of twins I know of, the Mountain twins from France, and I actually got to see the bassist perform in Germany. But let's say
I'd say like a dynamic rhythm section duo, like us knowing each other. It's hard to make it short, but I want to say just us knowing how we play. We can take the music wherever we want, in a way that makes sense, just because we understand, like, the things we do and how to expand the music.
Yeah, we listen to the same music, you know, I know what Carl likes, he knows what I like, you know, through writing styles. We just know each other's playing in and out, you know.
Hard to make it short, but...
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, and I figured as much. So I want to ask you this, as identical twins, have you ever come out on stage and switched instruments to see if people are paying attention?
Sometimes, just like on a break, like in between sets or something, I'll hop on the bass and just mess around and just try to embarrass Alan, pretend he's
I'll hop on the
That's what I'm talking about, guys. Right there. That is the way twins get back at each other, right there. I understand. That's it. That's the magic right there.
So wrong, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That should happen for sure. Hey, you guys have any plans on coming to Kansas City?
We don't have anything planned for there right now, but we've been there before, and it's an amazing city. We went to the Kansas City Jazz Festival there. We'd love to play in that, or just be in the city again.
Yeah, you guys should push for it.
Right now,
I dig it. Hey, thanks again. Keep on doing what you do. The jazz world loves it.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah,
Cool,
thanks for
guys.
having us.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to yet another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Japan, Memphis, Kansas City, and spots all over the globe, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Carl and Alan for their their time, and all of that jazz. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.